Welcome back to Movement Professional. So a little update on my knee, feeling much better. Today I got back to jiu-jitsu, which is sort of the scene of the original injury, which was a day before Thanksgiving. In the interim, I took last week off jiu-jitsu, but I got back to like formal CrossFitting, and that felt fine. Actually, it made my knee feel much better. Felt more confident with all the movements that we did there. Had some actual PRs with things like get up. So knee felt very stable. The last thing that I'm noticing that still brings me pain is a cross-legged sitting position, and especially when the knee is not supported. So if I sit on the ground here, and I sit cross-legged there, just having that knee up in the air, that feels a little bit uncomfortable. But if I wrap this leg there and add a little overpressure in that direction, or lean my body forward, that's when I start to notice it more. So in order to get the cross-legged position better, what I find is I need to add some support. So let me grab a yoga block here and a wedge, and that should be enough. So now I have something to be in contact with the knee, and right about there. That feels much better. So now I feel more supported. It's backing off the range of motion, but as soon as it's hanging out in space like that, that feels a little unstable. So I need to secure the position there, and now what I can do is create some isometrics. So what I'm looking for is hip external rotation, which would be I'm trying to reach my femurs long, or think about the knees coming away from the hips, and roll the hips out. The ankles are going to go into dorsiflexion, and another helpful cue is to think if I was kicking my leg forward, so I'm going to give a little bit of an isometric cue right into the shin, and that takes any type of stress out of the knee, and then I start feeling my glutes working a little bit better and my abs, so I can go in and out. And then the goal over time would be to take this block and maybe flatten it out, see if I can make some contact there, do the same isometrics. So there's a little bit more stress just hanging out here, but as soon as I create these isometrics where I'm kicking forward and I'm trying to spread my knees apart, it goes away, it brings the tension up into the abs, into the glute, and then I can relax. Now just sitting here doesn't feel as bad. And the goal would be over the course of a couple of weeks, and I know this isn't going to be a quick process, so I want to have a nice objective way of seeing change. Right here, I can't get to that yet, so it's hanging out too much in space. So right now, I'll still need this block, but eventually I want to take the block away, maybe just get down to the wedge, improve my hip external rotation, which needed improvement anyway, but now I got this feedback from the symptom at the knee. If I'm not using my hips the way I want to use them, then I'm going to feel my knee more. Okay, so another exercise that I really like to improve that external rotation with a little bit of compression. So my hip is starting in this externally rotated position, but where it's really problematic is actually when I start to lean forward, which actually creates a little bit more internal rotation, where it moves the externally rotated hip towards internal rotation. So again, I'm going to start with a wedge, because if I just have it hanging out here, lean forward, that's too much. But if I put a little bit of a wedge there, it gives me more support. I want to dorsiflex the ankle, and then I'm going to create this same idea of trying to make the femur long, roll the hip out, see if I can get my glute in this position, and then I can kick forward. The kicking moves away from the hamstring action of pulling the heel back. That's going to be something that I also want to try to build strength in, but that's a little bit more provocative right now. So I can go both ways. If I want to be safer, kicking or moving the shin forward into my hand and creating a contraction there, that's going to give me a little bit more glute, take some of the stress out of the knee. Over time, though, I'm also going to want to test the waters more gradually, more gently, with pulling the heel in, engaging the hamstring in this position. And then leaning forward, I'm still trying to keep the dorsiflexion in the ankle. I want to feel it here as if I'm getting a stretch in the back pocket of the hip without feeling the knee. So right now I feel it about right here. Eventually I'd like to be able to go all the way down without having that symptom come on. So I'm going to take that slow, but that's going to be basically what I'm working on now for the next couple weeks, and it'll get better when it gets better. The key is that I've been able to see what I can do well without any symptom, so it's not a waiting game. That doesn't have to get all the way better before I get back to training. That's just something I'm keeping an eye on the side to know that, all right, when that feels like it's not symptomatic anymore, I'm pretty much back to normal. But there's really a lot of value in just figuring out what you still can do, and then you don't have to feel like you're impatient with waiting for this particular symptom to go 100% away. If you have any questions, you can go to movementprofessional.com. I'll see you next time.